And in a recent interview, tenor Luciano Pavarotti says that he is so in love with his new girlfriend that he likes to run nude on the beach with her. Read all about this in this month's issue of Things That Make Me Vomit. That picture makes me vomit as well. Finally, some good news. According to her doctor, legendary actress Katharine Hepburn is recovering nicely from her recent illness, and they have even upgraded her condition to decrepit. So that's nice. Well, you don't like her? You don't like Katharine Hepburn, for God's sakes? In other show business news, it has been reported that superstar Madonna is pregnant. Although, personally, I find this a bit hard to believe. I mean, Madonna isn't even married. It's like crazy. Last week, the United Artists Cinema chain agreed to make 300 of its theaters more accessible to people with disabilities. Also, disabled patrons will no longer have to buy an extra ticket for their wheelchair. That's good. About time they overturn that barbaric practice. Okay. Civil rights legend Rosa Parks, heroine of the 1955 Alabama bus boycott, paid a visit last week to MTV's Choose or Lose bus. The visit turned ugly, however, when Ms. Parks was forced to give up her seat to Kurt Loder. It's a sad statement, really, when you think about it. Thank you. As Baltimore and Cleveland met this week in divisional playoff action, the big story in baseball continues to be Orioles second baseman Roberto Alomar. Under a dark cloud. Yes, none of us like him. Earlier tonight, the New York Yankees defeated the Atlanta Braves and won the World Series. Had the Braves won, Mayor Giuliani would have sent Mayor Campbell a bushel of delicious New York crack. Have you tried the New York crack? It's delicious. This week, TWA announced plans to reconstruct the Boeing 747 that exploded in Flight 800. Man, talk about cheap, huh? These characters. Trying to save a few bucks by rebuilding a... It's ridiculous. I don't know what I'm talking. And in Madison, Wisconsin, a painting that depicts a large rat sucking at the breast of the Blessed Virgin Mary was removed from a high school art display due to complaints by local residents. The artist blamed the complaints on a lack of art education, while I blame the complaints on the fact that it was a painting of a large rat sucking the breast of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So, you know, we both have our, all right. Ballots will be mailed out next week in the election for president of the Teamsters Union, with incumbent Ron Carey squaring off against Jimmy Hoffa Jr. Hoffa is eager to follow in his father's footsteps, except for that last footstep where he disappeared forever. That's the footstep he wants to avoid, just that last one. Otherwise, he enjoys the hungover. A French government survey finds that Disneyland Paris is the most popular tourist attraction in the country. And the most popular ride? Women who don't shave their armpits of the Caribbean. There's two ways to pronounce that, and I got neither. Kurt Freund, one of the world's leading experts on the study of deviant sexual arousal, passed away last week at the age of 82. Dr. Freund's last words were, quote, "Whatever happens to me, can someone please make sure that the headline of my obituary does not contain the phrase, deviant sexual arousal?" Would that be too much to ask from you, you dirty bastard? Wildlife officials in Maryland say that increased hunting will be necessary to control the state's black bear population. Gee, I wonder if hunting would be the answer if, instead of overpopulation of black bears, there were an overpopulation of rich old white men. Yeah. Yeah. Then I wonder. Last week at a dramatic press conference about the crash of TWA Flight 800, ABC News correspondent Pierre Salinger displayed a document which he believes is proof that the jet was shot down by a U.S. Navy missile. Later, he proudly showed reporters his solid gold Rolex that he bought on the street for just $15. That's one ugly bastard, isn't it? Due to his recent heart bypass surgery, Russian President Boris Yeltsin is now restricted to 1 glass of wine a day. It should be noted, however, in Russia, this is a wine glass. Like a joke from the old Dean Martin show. A top aviation watchdog group warned this week that the nation's airlines are vulnerable to terrorist attack. The biggest problem, apparently, watchdog groups pointing out to terrorists that airlines are vulnerable to attack. That's all right. Last weekend, in a dramatic rescue off the coast of Long Island, fishermen pulled a 300-pound man from frigid waters. They were alerted by his desperate cries of, "Help! Help! I'm starving! I'm starving!" Big fat guy. Famed anthropologist Mary Leakey died this Monday at the age of 83. Leakey was buried near her home, where she will rest in peace until some nosy anthropologist digs her up in a couple of... That's a nice obituary for the lady. A Connecticut hotel where Bill Clinton spent the night has donated to a charity auction a bagel the president ordered from room service but never ate. Though potential bidders should be advised, while the president never actually ate the bagel, he did have, quote, relations with it. Sounds delicious. Over the next 2 months, the murder, over the next, Over the next 2 months, the number of Border Patrol agents in Tucson, Arizona will double to 49. Meanwhile, the number of illegal aliens sneaking into the country will hold steady at 100 million billion. And in medical news, a new test can now detect prostate trouble months earlier than any previous test. The only downside, it involves shoving some huge device up your ass. It's not all gravy, you know? This week, renowned heart surgeon Michael DeBakey attacked the hypocrisy of Hollywood stars who oppose the use of animals in medical research and yet wear ribbons supporting the war on deadly diseases like AIDS. In response, animal activist Ricky Lake said, quote, "But the red ribbon diverts attention from my gigantic ass." If it wasn't for the red ribbon, people would notice my gigantic ass more. By wearing the red ribbon, less people... This week, in arguments before the Supreme Court, lawyers for President Clinton asked that the sexual harassment suit brought by Paula Jones be delayed until he leaves office. According to Clinton's attorney, quote, "If the president were hauled into court every time some nut accused him of sexual harassment, he'd have no time to scare up tail." You like scaring up the tail. Okay. In Norwich, Connecticut, a local museum has made a long overdue effort at racial reconciliation by returning 21 ancient tribal artifacts to the Mohegan Indians. But as for everything else in the country, we'll be keeping that. It's good news, really. We don't have to give any of it back. The most famous vineyard in France, Chateau Mouton Rothschild, has been getting complaints about a new wine label which features a sketch of a naked woman. It should be noted, however, that the sketch is of Sally Jesse Raphael. So. You don't want to see, nobody wants to see that. Well, how's this for a coincidence? Last week in New York, 3 sisters each had a baby on the same day at the same hospital. Though it should be noted, the 3 women were in different hospitals, they're not sisters, and they didn't have babies. Also, it was 2 guys. Still kind of a coincidence, you know, when you think about it. Basketball superstar Michael Jordan has scored a slam dunk with his new men's fragrance, selling 1.5 million bottles of Michael Jordan cologne in the first 2 months. No, the scent does not smell like Michael Jordan after a game. It smells like Patrick Ewing. So it smells good. Beginning in March, DC Comics will change Superman's traditional red and blue costume to a new form-fitting bodysuit. The problem with the old costume? Not gay enough. What the hell's going on in the country? That's not Superman. All right. Following the passage of a new city ordinance, strippers are now forbidden to give lap dances in the city of Houston, Texas. Or, as I refer to it, Nazi Germany. It's ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Meanwhile, 5,000 disabled Americans were in Washington last week to protest doctor-assisted suicide. On a sad note, the demonstration turned ugly when all 5,000 disabled people fought over 2 handicapped parking spaces. I told you, it was sad. Michael Jackson was married for the 2nd time. Asked what makes his new bride special, the king of pop said, quote, "She has taught me about the power of imagination, like imagining that a grown woman is a 10-year-old boy." You know he's a homosexual pedophile, right? You understand?
And then it's about to go down. We're here to stay and run this town. Bring in the heat, bring in the energy. We're the queens of the festival, can't you see? We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Dropping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. We're the festival queens standing tall. Ooh, yeah, ooh. From dawn till dusk, we command the crowd's gaze. Every beat, every rhyme sets our souls ablaze. With swagger and style, we own this domain. In the realm of music, we reign supreme, no chain. Feel the rhythm pulsating through your veins. Our verses ignite fire, never wane. With each lyric we spit, each move we make, we carve our legacy, leaving jaws to quake. We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Dropping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. We're the festival queens standing tall. Ooh, I get it. Ooh. No crown needed, our all's the crown jewel in the kingdom of sound. We never play the fool with beats as our scepters and rhymes as our decree. We're the sovereigns of rhythm for all to see. So bow down to the queens as we own the night. In the kingdom of music, we're the guiding light. From the first note to the last, we'll always be the festival queens, forever wild and free.
Veteran news anchorman David Brinkley apologized to Bill Clinton for an election night commentary in which he called the president, quote, boring and uncreative. Admitted Brinkley, there was certainly nothing uncreative about the way you moved Vince Foster's body. The president's a murderer. You didn't know that?